Hi everyone, Leslie Ray here with a bonus tutorial this week on how to make handmade washi tape with your digital papers. I've used this recently in a couple of my projects, and I've had several people ask, how do you do that? So I was going to show you how simple and easy this is. For the project, you'll need some digital paper packs. I'm working with the Love Me digital paper pack. It was in the recent release from Digital Delights by Luby Lou, and I really love a lot of the textures and stuff in those papers. You'll need a product called Miracle Tape. I've seen this done with other things. I prefer Miracle Tape. It's a real simple product to use. I get mine from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. And then you need some white tissue paper. I prefer white tissue paper because I like putting all the color on it, and I like the white with the colored pieces behind it. But if you were just printing some black text or something like that, I don't see why not printing on colored paper, because that would just make an interesting different kind of washi paper. So here's the process. You can, if you want to, print whole pages, and I'll show you one that I printed out for this tutorial because I really like the dots and I needed more dots than I had on Washi 2. But what I did is I made strips of my favorite papers that I wanted to use. So you see, the dots, and you see the real cute little hearts and stuff, and you see the harlequin patterns. And so I made those into strips, and I made a document that I can feed into my publisher program to print with. And so and I just printed sizes that I thought I would use a lot of, keeping in mind the wider for wider tape and the skinnier for smaller tape. And then I put it in my publisher document on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper so that I could run it through my printer. It made it real easy to print. And so here's where we are. And then the next thing I did, I'll show you these in a minute that I've done already. The next thing I did is I cut my tissue paper down to about 8 by about 10.5. And the reason I did that is because I want it to fit on my paper just perfect so that it doesn't hang over the edge. And this makes it easier to do to start with. So after doing that, I get out my Miracle Tape, because I need a piece of Miracle Tape at the very top of my paper. Let me see if I can get this on here for you to see. So at this top of my paper here, I take a strip of Miracle Tape, and here I'm using about a 7/8 inch wide piece, and I'm putting it down at the top of my paper that is going to be fed into my printer. Determine which way your paper feeds from my printer. My paper feeds from the top, and so I want to make sure at the top of this paper I have this piece of Miracle Tape, and you'll see it's just a little bit off the top, so it's not too close. It doesn't go all the way to the edges. Okay, so I'm going to take off the strip. I want to do this here on camera for you so you can see I really do run it through my printer. And then your tissue paper has a shiny side, and then it has kind of a dull side. And I'm sorry, it's wreaking havoc with the whiteness of the tissue paper. There we go. It has a dull side and a shiny side. I print on the shiny side because that seems to give it enough resistance that it doesn't just soak into the tissue paper. And then the last thing I do is I make sure anywhere that's sticky, like right here in the corner was kind of sticky, I am going to put down either some powder, and in this case I'm just going to dip my finger into my Prismaglitter jar and put just a little bit right here just to get that sticky off. I'm a glitter girl, and a little bit of Prismacolor makes me happy. And so the next thing I'm going to do is feed it into my printer the correct way. So you need to know which way your printer prints. My printer, I feed it in upside down, and it feeds from this edge. So that's why I want this edge to be what's taped down. The reason I don't tape down this bottom flap is because if I do, and it starts coming around that corner and it gets really tight, you see it'll cause like a bow in the paper, and that won't do. So you need to let this be free flowing, and it can even go off the end here and be okay. You just want to make sure it doesn't go off these edges. You want these edges to be clean, so that's why I cut it just a little bit smooth. You'll see even on this page it's crooked, and that's okay, because your washi tape will still print up and down. Okay, it's not going to print with the curve of the tissue paper. Got it? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put our tissue paper cardstock in, and I've put it upside down so that when it prints the right direction. And I'm going to my paper on publisher, and I'm going to do file print, and I'm not telling it to print any particular way. I just have it set on normal printing so that it just kind of prints quickly, and you'll see it come printing out here in just 1 second. And it doesn't even mind when I get glitter in the printer. My printer is very, very forgiving, and it's off printing just like normal. So there's no special settings. Print on the slick side. Make sure you tape down the top. And you'll see it come pop out here in just a second. Looks great. And I didn't even iron my tissue paper. If you look at my tissue paper, you'll notice there's a crease in it. I didn't even iron it. I just ran it through the printer. And it's coming out. And you'll notice it's a little bit wet because it is an inkjet printer. And it looks like it has like a little pucker to it. You see how it kind of puckers right there? It's because it's wet. If you let that sit for a minute, it will be just fine. And even where the wrinkles seem to be in it, it's going to be fine. If I were to iron it ever, which I hardly ever even think about ironing it, if I was going to iron it ever, it would be after I print it. Just hands down, that's what I would do. But it turns out really good, because you can still see the definition, like in this very delicate pattern, by printing it on the slick side. And then, of course, the dots are my favorite. So set it aside. How much time? Till it's dry to the touch. Okay. And so here are two that I've done prior. I did this one that you saw on the screen earlier with the big dots, the two kinds of harlequins, and this nice little print with the hearts on it. And then I did a whole page of the dots, and you can see it still has that wrinkle in it, but the wrinkle is not affecting the pattern at all. So the next thing I do is I tear it off, and I tear it off just gently, and this is funny because usually it just rips for me. There we go. But tear it along that edge, okay? And then if you want to use this piece of paper again, and make sure it doesn't fold up like this, you could probably run one more strip through here, but after a couple of thicknesses, this is going to get too thick to go this end. We'll just turn it this way and do this end, and then turn it this way and do this side, okay? So you can use your piece of cardstock that you run through a couple of times. And then let me pull this one off too. And I did this one in advance also, so we could have two to deal with. And now I've pulled out a couple of sizes of Miracle Tape. Miracle Tape comes in 7 sizes and in sheets. So gosh, just imagine all the fun stuff you can do. And so I'm going to go with the strips first. And I'm using it upside down. So the dull side is facing me, the printed side is down. And I have, these are probably my most favorite sizes to make my washi tape in. And so I'm going to start with the fat one and do the other two sizes. The fat one being about 7/8 of an inch. And I'm going to just put it, let me turn my whole paper here. I'm going to put it on here so that it goes from end to end. And I'm just sticking it down, pressing like that, and then I'll trim it off. And I'll do that in a couple of places. While this one is a fun one, the dots, I've used all my dot washi tape up. I have to make some more. That's why I made me a whole sheet of washi tape dots. And then get your next size. And you're just going to keep the backing. This tape has a backing on it. You're just going to keep this backing on your tape until you're ready to use it. Normal washi tape, you peel it off and stick it down. This one, you just peel off the backing. So you think of it as having smaller pieces of washi. But the cool thing is you can make your own out of your favorites. Sorry, I did not realize I was off the screen. You can make your own out of your favorites. And then you can either store them flat like this, or you can go ahead and open them, or tear them apart. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Because I prefer just a little bit of a raggy edge on mine. It's okay. If you prefer it to be more finished off and not so raggy edge looking, then you can make sure you go down the sides of your stuff with the edger. So here are my pieces of tape. On the front, you can kind of see where they are. On the back, you can definitely see where they are. I'm saving this bad boy over here, the fat one, for a little bit wider piece of tape, so I'm not going to worry so much about it. But just take your scissors and you can trim along it if you like that look, or you can rip against it and have just a little bit of edge to it. So this is the cut edge of it. And then if you wanted to rip against it, I would just take it and pull it towards yourself like this. And that's honestly what I do with most of mine, is I like that little bit of a ragged edge on mine. But it's really to your own suiting. And so this is ready to go. It's simple to use. Just take and peel your backing off, and you've got a nice sticky piece to put on whatever you want. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please feel free to put questions in the comments so that you can I can answer them for you. Or if I don't see them right away, Wendy will definitely direct them to me so that I can answer them for you. But Wendy makes a nice set of digipapers with every release now. And some of the little sets some of the little holiday sets have come with a digital paper in there. And what a nice, fun accent that will match the rest of your card and your embellishments to use handmade washi paper. So, very simple. Tissue paper, miracle tape, or a strong double-sided stick tape with a backing. The backing's the key because, you don't want to take this to your printer. That would be a bad thing. But it's very simple to make and use. Like I said, I like tearing because it's so simple to just tear them off. But I'm going to do the same thing with my big sheet. I'm going to make a bunch of strips of my dots, and the dots will look so good. And then I'm going to make some more. These dots are a little bit bigger, and then make some with the cool little dark red hearts, and get some wide strips to make some with these here. So that's my plans for my washi tape. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I hope you try making some homemade washi tape and show me what you've made. I'd love to see it. Thank you for coming. Join me again next week. I have Tuesday tutorial, and I'm sure we have some fabulous for the weekend. We always do. Good night.